Life has a way of putting you in front of choices that test who you are at the core. Every single day, you're faced with the option of doing the harder right thing or the easier wrong thing. And let's be honest, the easier wrong thing feels tempting. It feels convenient. It feels like the shortcut that no one will notice. But here's the truth. Every time you choose the easier wrong, you chip away at your own integrity. You might not feel it immediately, but deep down you know when you've taken the easy way out, and that knowing sits with you. It erodes your confidence, your self-trust, and your ability to believe in yourself. The harder right thing is uncomfortable. It demands effort, it demands discipline, and sometimes it even demands sacrifice. But when you lean into that discomfort, something powerful happens. You build your backbone, you build resilience, you prove to yourself that you can face adversity and still stand tall. That's where real strength comes from. Not from choosing what's easy, but from choosing what's right, even when it costs you something in the short term. We live in a world obsessed with shortcuts, quick fixes, and instant gratification. But real growth, real fulfillment, and real confidence only come from those moments where you step up and do the thing you know you need to do, not the thing that feels easiest. Think about it. Every achievement you're proud of in your life didn't come from the easy path. It came from pushing through the resistance, showing up when you didn't wanna, standing in your values when it would have been easier to walk away from them. And this ties into something even bigger. Stop waiting for life to hand you what you wish for and start growing the backbone to create it. Wishing for a better life, a better job, a better relationship doesn't change a damn thing. Wishing is passive. Wishing says, I hope someone else makes this happen for me. But when you develop the backbone, you take control. You stop wishing and you start doing. A wishbone won't carry you when life gets hard, but a backbone will. A backbone will keep you standing when people doubt you, when obstacles stack against you, and when everything in you is screaming to take the easy way out. The people you admire, the people you look up to, they didn't get there because they wished for it. They got there because they made the harder choice again and again. They built their lives on decisions that aligned with their values, not their convenience. And you have that same power. The question is, are you willing to choose it? When you look at yourself in the mirror, when you think about the person you're becoming, ask yourself this: am I building a backbone that will carry me through the storms of life? Or am I clinging to a wishbone, hoping someone else makes it easier? Every single moment is your chance to decide, and every harder right you choose adds another layer of strength, integrity, and confidence to the foundation of your life. Doing the right thing isn't usually the easy thing. In fact, most of the time, it feels like the exact opposite. The harder right choice demands energy, it demands sacrifice, and sometimes it even demands you stand alone while everyone else takes the shortcut. But that's where your true character is built. Every time you face a decision and you feel that tug inside of you, the tug between the easy way out and the right way through, that's the moment that defines you. You might think it's small, insignificant, not a big deal. But the reality is every one of those little moments stacks up. They become the story of your life. And the story is either one where you cut corners and settle for convenience, or one where you rose up and chose integrity, no matter how uncomfortable it felt. Choosing the harder right is like lifting weights. The first time you do it, it feels heavy. Your muscles ache, your mind wants to quit, and everything in you is screaming, why bother? But when you push through, you get stronger. You may not see it immediately, but over time, every rep makes you more resilient. That's exactly what happens to your character when you consistently choose the harder right. You start to trust yourself. You build a reputation with yourself that you can count on. And that trust is priceless because it becomes the foundation for everything you want to achieve in your life. Most people avoid the harder right because it feels like a sacrifice. It means giving up comfort, approval, or even short-term rewards. But what they don't realize is that every time they choose the easy wrong, they are silently sacrificing something much bigger, their self-respect. You know when you've chosen the easy wrong. No one else may see it, but you do. And you carry that with you. That inner voice reminds you, you could have done better. That's the erosion of confidence. That's what slowly chips away at your belief in yourself. On the other hand, when you choose the harder right, something remarkable happens. Even if no one claps for you, even if no one notices, you carry yourself differently because you stood tall in that moment. You chose to align with your values instead of your convenience. And that inner pride, that's fuel. That's momentum. That's the quiet confidence that allows you to tackle bigger and scarier things tomorrow. Think about the moments in your life you're most proud of. I guarantee none of them came from the easy wrong. They came from moments where you stepped up, where you pushed past fear, where you endured discomfort to do what was right. Those moments shape who you are. They build your backbone, your resilience, and your identity as someone who doesn't fold when things get tough. Here's the truth. Life will keep giving you opportunities to choose between what's easy and what's right. And every time you choose the harder right, you're not just making a single decision, you're laying down a brick in the foundation of your character. Over time, that foundation becomes unshakable. It becomes the reason people trust you, the reason you trust yourself, and the reason you're able to handle the storms that life throws your way. Doing the harder right builds character because it proves again and again that you are someone who can rise above the temptation of easy and stand firm in the power of integrity. The easier wrong always looks so inviting. It's the path that promises comfort, convenience, and a quick escape from pressure. It whispers, don't worry, no one will notice, or it doesn't really matter this time, and in the moment it feels harmless. But let me be real with you. Every time you choose the easier wrong, you're not just cutting a corner in the outside world, you're cutting a corner inside yourself. You're weakening the foundation that your confidence and self-trust stand on. That's the part nobody tells you about shortcuts. They don't just cheat the system, they cheat you. When you take the easier wrong, it feels like relief. Maybe it's skipping that workout because you're tired. Maybe it's saying yes to something you know you shouldn't because you don't want conflict. Maybe it's lying just a little to avoid embarrassment. In the short term, you dodge discomfort, you get to stay in your bubble. But what happens next? Deep down, you feel it. That voice inside of you knows you didn't hold yourself to the standard you're capable of. And even if nobody else calls you out, you carry that awareness. It's a quiet erosion of your own belief in yourself. The scary part is how subtle it is. One easy wrong doesn't ruin you. You don't feel the damage instantly. But like drops of water wearing down stone, it compounds over time. Each time you choose the easy wrong, you reinforce a pattern. You're teaching yourself that when it gets hard, you'll fold. And that becomes your automatic response. The next time you're faced with a tough choice, you're more likely to grab the easy wrong again because you've already lowered the bar for yourself. That's how people wake up one day wondering why they feel stuck, why they don't trust themselves, why they never seem to follow through. It's because they've been training themselves to settle. The easier wrong doesn't just weaken your discipline, it weakens your backbone. It makes you dependent on comfort and avoidance. And here's the thing, you can't build a life you're proud of if your choices are rooted in avoidance. Growth requires facing the uncomfortable. Success requires stepping into resistance. Fulfillment requires aligning with your values even when it costs you. The easy wrong robs you of all of that. It might give you a moment of relief, but it steals your long-term confidence. What's even more dangerous is that the easy wrong disguises itself as no big deal. That's the lie. That's the trap. Skipping the hard conversation today might seem small, but what you're actually doing is teaching yourself that your voice doesn't matter. Putting off that project might feel harmless, but what you're teaching yourself is that your goals don't deserve your energy. Each easy wrong is a message to yourself, I can't handle this. And the more you repeat it, the more you believe it. But here's the flip side. The moment you recognize this pattern, you can break it. You can stop choosing the easy wrong and start practicing the harder right. And when you do, you'll notice something incredible. Your confidence comes back. Your energy rises. You start to believe in yourself again because your actions prove that you can depend on you. That's the difference. The easy wrong weakens you. The harder right builds you. And every single choice is a chance to decide which version of yourself you're building. A wishbone is about hoping, waiting, dreaming, and imagining. It's passive. It's you sitting there thinking, I hope this works out, or I wish my life looked different, while doing absolutely nothing to make it happen. And let me tell you something, you can sit around wishing all day long, but nothing changes until you build the backbone to actually get up and do the work. A wishbone won't carry you through obstacles, but a backbone will. A wishbone won't help you when life knocks you flat, but a backbone will get you back on your feet. And if you want a life that looks different, stronger, and more aligned with your potential, you've got to stop leaning on wishes and start building the muscle of action. Think about how many times you've said to yourself, I wish I had more money. I wish I was healthier. I wish I had a better job. I wish my relationships were stronger. We all do it. Wishing feels good for a moment because it gives your brain a little hit of imagination, a fantasy of what life could look like. But then what? Nothing changes. You're in the exact same spot because wishing requires zero action and zero courage. The truth is, wishing is safe, and safe doesn't transform you. Backbone, on the other hand, is not safe. It's gritty. It's about making decisions that scare you a little. It's about showing up when you don't feel ready. It's about holding firm when things get tough and people doubt you. Backbone is choosing action over avoidance. Backbone is choosing responsibility over excuses. Backbone is saying, I may not know how this will work out, but I'm going to start anyway. That's the difference between people who build extraordinary lives and people who sit around wishing for them. When you let your wishbone grow where a backbone should be, you're outsourcing your future to luck. You're waiting for someone else to rescue you, for circumstances to magically shift, for the perfect time to arrive, but the perfect time never comes. Opportunities don't knock on your door because you wished for them. They show up because you built the courage to put yourself out there. Every dream you've ever had requires a backbone. The wishbone will tell you to sit tight and hope. The backbone tells you to move, even if it's messy, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's scary. And here's what's amazing: the second you start acting from backbone instead of wishbone, you begin to trust yourself in a whole new way. You stop waiting for life to happen and you start making life happen. You stop feeling powerless and you start realizing that you can handle more than you ever thought you could. And that builds momentum. That creates confidence. That strengthens you for the next challenge. So let me ask you, are you sitting on a wishbone or are you building a backbone? Because your answer to that question is the difference between staying stuck and breaking free. Every single time you trade wishing for action, you grow stronger. Every time you put in effort instead of waiting for luck, you grow bolder. And every time you show up, even when it's hard, you prove to yourself that you're not the kind of person who just hopes. You're the kind of person who makes it happen. That's what it means to never let your wishbone grow where a backbone should be. Courage isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. And the only way you build it is by practicing it over and over, just like a muscle. The first time you choose the harder right, your knees might shake, your heart might race, and everything in you might scream to turn back. That's normal. Courage doesn't feel good in the moment. It feels terrifying. But just like lifting weights, the more you do it, the stronger you get, and soon the things that once felt impossible become second nature. That's how courage works. It compounds, it grows. It shapes you into someone who can take on bigger challenges with confidence. Most people misunderstand courage. They think it's about being fearless. It's not. Courage is about acting in the face of fear. It's about feeling the fear in your chest and still saying, I'm doing this anyway. That first step is the hardest, but once you take it, something shifts inside you. You realize you didn't die. You realize you can handle discomfort, and suddenly the next time doesn't feel quite as overwhelming. That's how the muscle grows, through repetition, through practice, through choosing bravery one decision at a time. When you avoid hard things, when you choose the easy wrong instead of the harder right, you're weakening that muscle. You're training yourself to back down. And the more you do that, the smaller your world becomes. You stop trying new things. You stop speaking up. You stop chasing the goals that scare you. And before you know it, you're living a life that feels safe, but empty. That's the cost of never exercising your courage. But when you practice courage, even in small ways, you expand your world. Every time you speak up when it's uncomfortable, every time you stand firm in your values when it would be easier to cave, every time you take action on a dream that scares you, you grow. You start proving to yourself that you can handle more than you think, and that proof builds confidence. You stop doubting yourself and start trusting that you can show up no matter what life throws at you. Think of someone you admire, someone who seems unshakable, someone who stands tall no matter the circumstance. Do you think they got there by choosing comfort? No. They got there by practicing courage, by facing hard choices again and again until it became part of who they are. They didn't avoid fear, they leaned into it. And because they did, their backbone grew strong enough to carry them through storms. You have that same potential. Courage is not reserved for a special few. It's a skill, a habit, a muscle. And just like any muscle, it grows with use. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. The stronger it becomes, the bigger risks you can take. The bigger risks you take, The more your life expands, that's the chain reaction. It starts with a single act of courage, a single choice to do the harder right instead of the easier wrong. So ask yourself, where in your life are you shrinking instead of standing tall? Where are you letting fear dictate your choices? Those are the places where your courage muscle is begging to be exercised. Every time you choose courage over fear, you build strength. Every time you act despite doubt, you reinforce the belief that you can handle anything. And over time, that courage becomes part of you, a muscle so strong it carries you through challenges that once would have broken you. That's how courage is built, one rep, one choice, one moment at a time. When you live with a backbone instead of a wishbone, everything about your life changes. A wishbone is about hoping. It's about waiting for something to happen, waiting for the right moment, waiting for someone to rescue you, waiting for a stroke of luck. And let's be honest, most people spend their whole lives wishing. They wish for more money, they wish for a better relationship, they wish for a new job, they wish for confidence, they wish for change. But wishing is passive. It doesn't move the needle. You can sit around wishing for 10 years and find yourself in the exact same spot because a wishbone has no power to move you forward. A backbone, on the other hand, is about doing. It's about deciding, standing firm, and taking action even when it's uncomfortable, even when you're scared, even when you don't feel ready. A backbone means you stop waiting for permission, you stop waiting for the perfect time, you stop waiting for life to line up. You take what you have where you are and you move. That's where the power lies, not in wishing, but in showing up with courage and discipline. Too many people confuse wishing with wanting badly enough. They think if they wish hard enough, something will eventually shift. But let me tell you, life doesn't hand things out because you wished for them. Life rewards those who are willing to step into the arena, to risk failure, to push past resistance. A backbone is about choosing action over excuses, responsibility over blame, and progress over perfection. It's about saying, I might not know everything, but I know enough to start, and I trust myself to figure the rest out. Think about it when you rely on a wishbone. You put your future in someone else's hands. You're basically saying, I hope something out there saves me. That's weakness disguised as hope. But when you rely on your backbone, you put your future in your own hands. You say, I will save myself, I will take the step, I will make the call, I will put in the work. And that mindset separates the dreamers from the doers, the people who live with regret from the ones who live with pride. The truth is, building a backbone is uncomfortable. It requires discipline. It requires you to do the hard things when nobody's watching. It requires you to speak up when your voice shakes, to set boundaries when people push, to get back up after you've been knocked down. But every time you do, you reinforce that you are capable, that you are resilient, that you are stronger than you think. That becomes your identity. You stop being the person who hopes for a better life and start being the person who builds one. Wishing feels good for a moment. It gives you that spark of possibility, but it leaves you powerless. A backbone doesn't always feel good in the moment. It feels hard, heavy, and uncomfortable, but it gives you power, control, and growth. Which one do you want to live with? Because every single day you're choosing. With every excuse, every delay, every maybe someday, you're strengthening your wishbone. With every action, every decision, every I'll do it now, you're strengthening your backbone. The people who change their lives, who build businesses, who transform their health, who create meaningful relationships, they're not the ones who wished for it. They're the ones who showed up with a backbone and kept moving even when it was hard. That's the truth most people don't want to face. You can keep wishing, or you can grow a backbone. One keeps you stuck, the other sets you free. At the end of the day, life is about the choices you make when nobody's clapping, when nobody's watching, and when nobody's there to hand you the